We often hear that ancient people believed they would fall off the edge of the world. But this is one of the greatest historical myths ever told. The truth is far more fascinating and speaks to the brilliance of early human minds. Long before satellites orbited our planet, ancient humans knew exactly what they were standing on. They didn't need rockets or space telescopes to figure it out. All they needed was the sun, a stick, and a brilliant sense of observation. So when did humanity first realize that the Earth is a giant sphere? The story begins over 2,500 years ago. In ancient Greece, early philosophers started noticing strange patterns in the sky and on the sea. Pythagoras, famous for his math theorem, was among the first to propose a spherical Earth around 500 BC. He believed spheres were the most perfect shapes in geometry. Therefore, the gods would naturally have created a spherical world. But aesthetic philosophy wasn't enough to prove it. It was Aristotle who brought hard physical evidence to the table a few centuries later. Aristotle was a man who watched the world closely. He noticed that when ships sailed away toward the horizon, their hulls disappeared before their masts. If the Earth were flat, the ship would simply shrink into a tiny dot. Instead, it looked as if it was slowly descending down a massive hill. That hill was the curvature of the Earth itself. Aristotle also looked up at the night sky for clues. During a lunar eclipse, the Earth casts a shadow across the face of the moon. Every single time this happened, the shadow was perfectly curved. Only a spherical object can cast a round shadow from every possible angle. Furthermore, travelers moving south to Egypt reported seeing different constellations. Stars that were visible in southern skies were completely hidden from northern observers. This would only be possible if the observers were walking along a curved surface. By 330 BC, the spherical Earth was an accepted scientific fact among educated Greeks. Knowing the shape was one thing, but knowing the size was an entirely different challenge. Enter Eratosthenes, a brilliant scholar living in the 3rd century BC. He was the chief librarian at the legendary Library of Alexandria. One day, he read a fascinating report from a town called Syene, far to the south. The report stated that on the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, shadows completely vanished. At exactly noon, the sun was directly overhead. You could look straight down a deep well and see the bottom illuminated. Eratosthenes realized this was a pivotal piece of information. He waited for the next summer solstice and set up an experiment in Alexandria. At the exact same time the sun was illuminating the well in Syene, he placed a stick in the ground. Unlike in Syene, the stick in Alexandria cast a shadow. The sun was not directly overhead here. If the Earth were flat, both sticks would either cast identical shadows or no shadows at all. The difference in the shadow meant the surface of the Earth must be curving between the two cities. Eratosthenes measured the angle of the shadow in Alexandria. It was about 7.2 degrees. This angle happens to be exactly 1/50th of a full 360-degree circle. He then needed to know the exact distance between Alexandria and Syene. He allegedly hired professional pacers to walk the desert and measure the distance. They found it was about 5,000 stadia, an ancient unit of measurement. By multiplying that distance by 50, Eratosthenes calculated the total circumference of the Earth. His result was stunningly accurate. He was off by only a few percentage points from the actual measurement we use today. Over 2 millennia ago, a librarian measured our planet using nothing but a stick in his brain. This knowledge did not disappear with the Greeks. It was passed down through generations and across empires. In the 1st century, the Roman writer Pliny the Elder wrote about the spherical Earth as common knowledge. Claudius Ptolemy created a global map mapping coordinates on a sphere in the 2nd century. When the Roman Empire fell, this astronomical knowledge shifted to the Islamic world. Islamic scholars during the Golden Age were obsessed with accurate mathematics and astronomy. They needed to find the exact direction of Mecca for prayer from anywhere in the world. This required complex spherical trigonometry. In the 11th century, the Persian polymath al-Biruni took Earth measurement to a new level. Instead of measuring shadows across a desert, he used trigonometry on a mountain top. By measuring the dip angle of the horizon from a known height, he calculated the Earth's radius. Al-Biruni's method was even more precise than Eratosthenes. It is remarkable how advanced ancient and medieval science truly was. So why do we modern people believe that our ancestors thought the Earth was flat? The myth of the flat Earth was largely invented in the 19th century. Writers wanted to portray the Middle Ages as a dark, ignorant time compared to modern enlightenment. They popularized the dramatic story of Christopher Columbus fighting against flat Earth believers. The tale claimed that sailors were terrified of falling off the edge of the map. But the reality of the Columbus debate was entirely different. The scholars advising the Spanish Queen didn't argue that the Earth was flat. They argued that the Earth was much larger than Columbus claimed. Columbus had used a faulty, much smaller estimate for the Earth's circumference. He believed Asia was just a few weeks' voyage west of Europe. The scholars knew the true measurement calculated by ancient astronomers. They warned Columbus that his ships would run out of supplies before reaching Asia. And they were absolutely right. If the Americas hadn't been in the way, Columbus and his crew would have perished in a vast, empty ocean. He didn't prove the Earth was round, he just got lucky that a continent was blocking his path. From ancient sailors to medieval monks, the spherical nature of our home has been known for ages. Kings held spherical orbs as symbols of their dominion over the world. Monks drew maps depicting a globe divided into climate zones. The truth is that human curiosity has always driven us to understand our environment. We didn't wait for modern technology to grasp the geometry of our universe. The realization that we live on a floating sphere is a testament to the power of human observation. By simply watching the stars, the shadows, and the sea, our ancestors decoded the cosmos. They proved that you don't need to leave the Earth to see it from the outside. You just need to know how to look at the clues it leaves behind. Today, we have pictures from space confirming what a man in Alexandria figured out with a stick. We are standing on a legacy of ancient genius. Every time you see a ship dip below the horizon, you are witnessing an ancient scientific revelation. Every time a lunar eclipse darkens the moon, you are seeing the shadow of our spherical home. The Earth has been round in the minds of humans for over 2,000 years. Our ancestors were never afraid of the edge of the world. Because they knew there was no edge to fall from. They knew they were part of an endless, beautiful cycle spinning through the void.